Time. You're listening to Nebraska's #1 podcast, The Shedcast. The Shedcast. Where we take shit talking to a whole new level. If it's sports, music, or live interviews, we got you covered. Now, here's your host, Harvey.
Welcome back to a beautiful, glorious day. It's a day that we remember. It's instilled in our brains. My name's Harvey. Got Josh over on the 212.
Hey.
We'll be talking to John Weaver again from News for You.
News updates for you.
See, news updates for real.
Oh, news updates for real.
I do this every time.
We keep fucking that
I'm sorry.
up. Dude, I haven't looked at Instagram in like a while, so
You're off Instagram.
Yeah, fuck social media. I fucking was getting too much.
I feel it. Well, I was in a classroom in 2001 when World Trade Centers went down. Where were you at?
10th grade.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah,
I was third grade.
10th grade in a CAD class. Watched it on a TV.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, we do all my condolences to all the families that lost loved ones.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I always remember it. That's why I served the country. I did it for that reason.
A lot of people were moved to join the military post 9/11.
It was worth it, 100%. Speaking of everything, we're going to get into some fun stuff tonight. We're going to talk a little bit of conspiracies going on in Morocco. We got John calling in. So let's get him dialed in right now. He's waiting on standby. Let's see. Here we go. Some calls.
Hello, gentlemen.
John.
Hey, John.
How's it going?
Welcome to the podcast again.
Let's go. It's my favorite Nebraska crew in the house. How you guys been?
We've been good. We've just been chilling.
It's been hot. It's been very hot here.
It's been very hot.
No shit.
Yeah, we finally just got it to stop being hot this week.
Man, we're down to 12 degrees Celsius here in good old Canada, I tell you.
I don't even know what that math's out. 39 degrees Fahrenheit?
Yeah, something
like that. Something like that.
In the 30s. The 30s.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful Canadian weather.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, it was like 75 today, but last night it got into the 50s, so 50s Fahrenheit. So.
There you go. Say goodbye. How quick do the summers go, my friends? Every year they go a little bit quicker, don't they?
Yeah, it's been hazy here, though. Lots of fires causing a lot of smoke and haze, even in the Midwest.
Fuck me. Still, that's wild. Well, could be worse. You could be in Hawaii right now where they got a literal fucking volcano erupting. Not that they've had a tough enough month.
Go figure, though, right?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Seems
I'm
like,
sure Oprah and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson will make sure they're all okay, right?
Yeah.
well, do you think Oprah and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's houses are in jeopardy?
Yeah. I mean, if they are, they'll get a bunch of Hawaiian peasants to line up, make like a human shield for their houses. That's how they'll do it.
Jeez.
It'll be okay.
Well, with volcanic activity and what's going on in Morocco, it seems like the Earth's crust and tectonic plates are upset.
It seems like maybe the entire core of the Earth stopped spinning a few months ago.
That's right.
That could be a great possibility.
Yeah. No, that did happen.
That's a proven. Yeah, that's a proven thing, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's confirmed.
Well,
confirmed. I remember when it happened back then. I was like, "This seems like a really big deal," but we were too busy talking about Amber Turd and Johnny Depp.
Well, yeah, and that was a good distraction. And I was watching Tim the Tap Man, that gamer, on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
and he was talking about what would happen if for 5 seconds the world stopped spinning, and what all triggered down, and
everything's done.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah,
that's all it takes.
Done.
So.
Because everything will keep moving, the wind, the waves, everything.
Everything continues going on. The Earth itself just stops. So everything will keep moving at that wild speed that the Earth spins at.
That's nuts. Well, John,
it's that cosmic horror type of stuff that makes it easy to go to bed at night, fellas.
I try not to think too much about it before sleeping.
That's true.
I would recommend that. Yeah.
Well, I need to know. You gotta do your segment. You gotta do the thing.
Have you heard the news, fellas?
What do you got?
Are you
for
talking
us?
about the news where the 2,100 people are dead in Morocco?
I mean, there was that. Absolutely tragic, awful. Did you know that there's a bunch of videos of strange lights in the sky?
Yeah, that's weird, right? Like something
kind of
happening.
It's like, geez, what a coincidence. There's so many coincidences, like the fact that they saw those same lights over Turkey before their big earthquake.
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting.
So,
but I'm sure it's just, I mean, guys, if you Google it, you get about 100 fact check websites that tell me it's not real. So it must not be real, right?
Must not be real.
Yeah, this is
Must not be real.
one of the reasons why I've actually removed. I still have my Instagram, but I've removed Instagram from my phone because I was almost becoming sick by the things that were actually true and been proven true and people were talking about, and it was for two reasons. First reason, these things that are true are being fact checked as false, and second, even smart people who know that they're true for some reason were waiting for something that's bigger and more crazy to show up. So like, oh well, this is just the beginning. It's like, well, let's focus on what we can see and what we know.
Yeah.
But everybody else is like, oh, you think that the Maui thing's bad? Just wait until the next thing. And it's like, no, let's just keep talking about the Maui thing until the next thing happens.
Seems like a good strategy, eh?
I mean, geez. And now you have Morocco. Now you have Morocco, which is a wild tragedy.
Well, you know what I'd love to find out, gentlemen, is how who owns these fact check companies. Like, I think that would actually be a fascinating. That's okay.
Something to dive into.
I think I'm actually. I say that I'm going to do that. I'm probably going to do that tomorrow. Because I can promise you, I think we all know who owns them. The fucking mainstream media, bro. Or
Yeah.
I mean, BlackRock and Vanguard, obviously.
Weren't the weird Snopes people like frauds? Like there was like a thing that came out a few years ago about the Snopes people being like criminals.
Yeah, they're trash. Snopes was the start of it. But now there's hundreds there's dozens of them that come up now. All of them like, yeah, no, those lights were fake. It was, and the funny thing is, each fact check website has a different thing that happened. One says it was lights from Kazakhstan or a rocket from Kazakhstan. The other says it was from months ago in Turkey. So they can't even get their fucking story straight. That's the beautiful part.
Well,
but we're wrong.
The problem with mainstream media right now is they used to show us that they were saying there's bombings going on in another country, and they're showing us stuff from 10 years ago, and then there's people in the country like, dude, there's nothing. Like, it's perfectly fine over here.
Well, there's people right now currently saying that the Wagner plane that went down was old footage.
No fucking way. Well, yeah, didn't he get spotted somewhere?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been able to look into that.
I haven't got it nailed down to where it was actually thing, but yes, so he got spotted somewhere. So that's when I started kind of just like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of research. And then a bunch of people are saying, oh, that plane footage was from years ago. The one where it's coming apart in the sky. So
isn't there been like a lot of, so is that the guy that's been doing like different disguises to try to escape through?
Yeah.
Except
the
for
master of disguises.
Yeah, and it's weird too because it's probably 100% just a sick ass fraud, right? Like if this guy says he's going to lead this coup against Russia, he gets the missing $6 billion from the United States. Nobody know where the $6 billion go. All of a sudden, the Wagner Group has $6 billion worth of equipment and weaponry and everything else, and then then Putin forgives him, and then now Putin has $6 billion worth of America's military technology, and then he says he's going to exile him to Belarus.
Yeah,
and then he ends up dead.
Now they got well, don't forget though, a lot of Wagner got moved to Belarus to station there conveniently after that happened, right?
Yeah, so he's sending his bros.
He passed a pretty invasive, it's not a bill, it's like their Amber Alert system, I guess. That's how a Russian explained it to me. But essentially it was like, yeah, we can now look at anyone's phone for any reason. No proof or circumstance required.
Weird. Alls it takes is some wild sort of war or terrorist attack or anything, so people feel that the only way to help the government of that country protect them is by giving up all of their privacy, similar to, I mean, today is 9/11, so Patriot Day, Patriot Act, continually
the start of it all, my friend.
Continually renewing the Patriot Act, knowing that technology was going to be at the forefront of how everybody utilizes spends their day-to-day life and utilizes even their grocery shopping, so.
Oh, it was the beginning of the end of privacy, my friend. That was the start of it. And I mean, 9/11. I keep forgetting it's fucking 9/11. What a weird day.
Yeah. That's we just talked before we started the show. Talking about that's the reason why I joined the military, and then
no shit. A lot of y'all. I know that was a big thing. Yeah.
I mean, nationalism, American pride. The old don't tread on me mentality was pretty big in the early 2000s. It actually brought a lot of us together.
Oh yeah.
And I've been a naysayer about the cause of 9/11 myself since of pretty early on, but that was because at that time, starting in the 90s, I got into the Kennedy assassination, so I've started becoming a person who questioned everything, right?
I still do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still do.
Yeah.
So.
But I want to. I want to hear.
Sorry,
I want to hear what you got. I want to hear what you got before we let you go, because I know your time is precious because you're out there shooting the balls.
Okay.
You know
what? We're done, so I could chat for a hot second, but I'm going to give you this. I'll say this, just one caveat on the 9/11 thing. A lot of people were asking me today about it. So I just say, show me the fucking video footage of the plane hitting the Pentagon, and I'll believe a plane hit it. Actually, you could show me that footage. I still won't believe it. That was a fucking missile. Secondly, why did World Tower 7? Why did Tower 7 collapse? Explain those things to me, and then I'll believe your take on 9/11 there, George Bush or whoever the fuck's trying to explain it to me, right?
Yeah, the 9/11 Commission. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what a joke. I mean, anyways, these are the questions people should be asking. I mean, controlled demolition, all that stuff. You don't even have to get into that. Like, I was even thinking about today, like, okay, jet fuel probably can't melt metal beams, and furthermore, those towers were designed to withstand
plane impact.
Impact. It was literally designed to.
Yep.
Now, could the contractors have cheaped out and used shitty materials? Sure. That was something I even thought of today, where I'm like trying to be like, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to be
optimistic,
devil's advocate to my own. Yeah. And so, anyways, that's sure. Even that still doesn't explain why Tower 7 fell.
Why were the base metals at the bottom of the towers all cut at perfect 45-degree angles?
Rubble fell on Tower 7, or there's the shock of the ground. I mean, they come up with all kinds of logic.
Yeah. Why were there people saying they heard explosions?
Even the firefighters in the footage. Even the firefighters in the footage. It sounded like there was a bunch of explosions going off, or like someone says, "Oh, they're just going to take the building down," or people were actually in.
I remember that video.
Yeah. They actually play it.
You can't find that.
They used to play
that video anymore.
They used to play that in America on the Discovery Channel all day on 9/11. So starting when it happened, they would play all the footage they had as if it was happening, but they have looped in all these camcorders and all these body cam and older technology where they would make this like 8-hour long 9/11 show, and they would show it. And I think maybe the last time I saw it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Basically.
Funny.
Basically 2020, like COVID, whatever, like they quit doing it.
Yep. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that was, I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff. You want to talk about quick, sorry for all the caveats, boys. You know how we do.
Yep.
Yeah.
JFK, his final speech where he talks about a secret society trying to take over America.
Yeah.
You try finding that shit now.
Yep.
Pretty tough.
Yeah.
You can still find it, but they tried to wipe that one.
Sure.
They really tried to wipe that one. Yep.
Yeah, he shit the CIA pretty hard too.
Bro, the CIA killed JFK, and the towers were blown up for a multitude of reasons. But let's go with insurance, oil, and to invade our privacy for the top three.
Well, you also have all the missing money from the DoD, and that would a lot of that data was supposedly housed in the World Trade Center.
Certainly was.
And
also, I mean, of course, the Pentagon lost trillions of dollars that year as well, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, they announced it on the 10th.
Trillions of dollars. Didn't they lose trillions of dollars this year too? Funny.
Yeah. They announced the loss of trillions of dollars on the 10th of September 2001.
Yes, they did. Rumsfeld, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
But
Yep.
outside of that, as Americans, even if I'm a conspiracy theorist and I don't believe the origin of how the towers came down,
Right.
I feel completely terrible for the families and the people of New York that had to deal with that tragedy. You feel bad for, the guys in Pennsylvania if
Sure.
like, and then anybody else who
the hundreds of thousands of people have died since then because of the actions taken.
Absolutely.
Whatever. I mean, absolutely.
Absolutely. So
Okay, gentlemen, that was heavy. I got a good one.
You're good.
Posted
You're
out,
good.
Harvey. I got you. Okay, so check this out. This is the second time in my TikTok career I've had the police phoned on me.
Yes.
I was down by the beach today and throwing the ball to my dog, making a couple of videos. They were enthusiastic videos for sure. Definitely a little
You're
like the
definitely
volume
yelling.
was
You're
high.
definitely yep.
Definitely yelling. There was a long nah, like an especially long nah. So I mean, we had all the hits, all the classics, and I'm standing there, and the cop pulls up, and she's looking at me, and then the guy comes out of his house there in front of the beach, and they're looking at me. So I walk over, I'm like, "Oh, is there something wrong?" He goes, sorry, I just thought you were a deranged lunatic. My sick wife was scared." I was like, "Oh my God, man! Like, first of all, just come and talk to me for Christ's sakes before you dial 911." He actually said he called 911. So anyways, the cop's looking at me like, "Oh, what the fuck? Why am I here?" And then, God bless my dog, Jack. Jack runs up with a little piece of string hanging out his butt, yelping because he needs, some help with that. So I look at the cop. I'm like, "Can I fucking go here or what? What are we doing?"
She did
so
come
that
back.
was
She did come back while you're on live and had to talk to you and you had to end your live, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, you did see that, Harvey. Yeah,
did.
Harvey was there for that. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, my man was there. I owe you a jump in the water, don't I? I actually
You do.
yeah, I scrapped all that because she came over to
I know.
just make sure
I know.
again that I'm not a fucking lunatic. And I was like, "Yeah, fuck off." Anyways, thank God the Canadian cops. So I wasn't held at gunpoint or anything, so it was all good.
Not
it was
America,
all
so
gravy,
you're good.
do Canadian cops
Yeah.
have guns?
Yes, they do. We're not like Britain. They do have guns here, but I think Canadian cops, probably 90% of them never shoot a shot. I think that's maybe the same with Americans, or it used to be.
Oh, it's guaranteed. It's probably way higher than 90%. I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's it. Like it still is a very rare thing. So no, it was copacetic, but definitely threw a wrench in my little plans for the day. Because anyways, all handled.
You still able to get your daily video out, so that was good.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So everyone that's listening, you can go find him, of course, on TikTok and Instagram. I also check out his YouTube page. But news updates for the number 4 reel. Great guy. John's all over it. He gives you the news that no one else wants to tell you to talk about, and it's an updated daily, so you can catch all the news updates every day, and he'll tell you his secrets of where he gets all of his information and how legit this information is.
Yeah, shouts out to Grounded for sure. Grounded News.
Yeah, Ground News, they're solid, man.
They're solid.
For real.
It's been great. I've been getting so much information off that. It's just crazy. I love it. I share with all my friends.
Oh man, fucking right. Hey man, we're building something here, right? It's the grassroots journalist movement. It's the fuck the mainstream media movement. I suggest everyone get on board.
Yeah, even Tucker's on board, and he was part of the machine forever, right? Like killing it. I mean,
going hard.
Outside of all the other things that going on as far as the news this week, like this is one of the things that we always have to question, right? Like when all these tragedies happen, there's always historic things that are happening on another page, whether it's Putin and Kim Jong getting together, whether it's more Trump lawsuits and news, and it seemed like this week there was a lot going on. I'm kind of drawing a blank right now, but I was like, wow, it's like what a weird time for.
There's so much going on purposely to not make you pay attention to the real shit going on in the world.
God, it'd be nice to live in precedented times, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's go back to precedented. Unprecedented is getting a little tiring. Yeah, I mean, China-Russia deal to sell a bunch of oil to them.
Oh yeah, that was the other one. Yeah,
that's a big one. Morocco has 77% of the phosphate reserves in the world. So phosphate is used to make fertilizer. Obviously, there's already a massive fertilizer shortage. So we're all going to be food's going up again, guys. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
And Russia, 5 nuclear-capable bombers left Russia last night also.
Nice. And then also you had the agreement between Saudi Arabia and Russia to cut oil production through the end of the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I forgot that one. Yes. Big
All
stuff.
happening
That's
this week. So the price of food's going
Oh.
up. The price of gas is going
and
up.
Guys, and don't forget the strategic American oil reserves. Those are gone. Depleted.
That's right.
Done. Yeah, done.
And nobody can really remember where they went because there's no reason they should be gone because we haven't paid any cheaper for oil.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's been a solid week, guys.
Yes.
It's been a solid week. Holy fuck. I was saying that on live. I rallied all that shit off, and I was like, and that was just this week.
Yep.
I forget who I was talking to, and she was like, holy shit.
Well,
But,
yeah.
hey, man.
Think about just before you go. Joe Biden visited Anchorage, Alaska today instead of going to 9/11 ground floors for the first time since 2001.
They knew he was going to fuck up the speech or something. They were like, let's not even let Joe get near that.
He got pulled away from his one-on-one speech the other day.
Yeah,
I saw that. Was that after he said, I'm just following orders?
It was I'm gonna go take a nap.
yeah, I'm gonna go take a nap.
I'm going to fall down these stairs.
He can say anything. It doesn't fucking matter. He can say and do anything, and everyone knows that it's just a fucking skin suit there holding that position while the oligarchy or whatever you want to call it, the military, corporate, pharmaceutical, industrial complex all runs the scenes with a bunch of unknown faces. I mean, and if they were brought to light, and even the ones that are in the light right now, everyone wants to be controversial, like whether or not they're a good or a bad guy, i.e. Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci, George Soros, so on.
Sure.
Just the fucking main Hall of Fame busts of bad guys right there,
Yeah, it's a solid lineup. The usual suspects there.
That's terrible.
No, and I mean, man, I literally was just I helped my Nana move into her apartment there last week. Nana's 90, blind, with terrible bowels. And God bless her, I did a poll, and most people, not 99% of people said she's more suited than Joe Biden. I said, we got to get you on the ballot, Nana. You're just about at the perfect age.
Hey, she talked to me. She talked to me. She was all alert, man.
Say hi to Harvey. That's
she
right.
did. She's like, she asked me what my first name was. She goes, Tyler. Oh, that's nice.
Man, that's an OG, man. She's an OG.
She's awesome.
Anyway,
She's awesome.
Yes, thank you again, as always, for having me on.
Of course, man. It's you're our first. We're getting ready to do segments going live on phone calls, so we're just gonna have segments where you just call in the number and we're gonna patch you in. So
it might be. It's great that you're the first guy to get to do this.
Yes, sir.
Fucking right. Hey, let's go we're through the brick wall now, gentlemen. It's easy sailing.
Hell yeah.
Hey, before you go, what other news you got going on for our podcast? You had an announcement today. You want to make that announcement before you go off?
Yeah, I'm filming my podcast Wednesday, first edition. This first one is just gonna be me and a buddy, kind of like your guys' vibe. We're just gonna start it off, establish who the fuck I am for people that don't know. I mean, a lot of people follow me, but probably don't know who I am. We're gonna watch some fucking funny videos and talk politics and news, and we'll see what else we get into. And then after that, I'm hoping we get Spike Cohen on, independent vice presidential candidate, and a whole cast of other people, including you motherfuckers.
Hell
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
We're on it.
Yeah, shouts out to Spike, too, for all the stuff he's doing in every small community. I love that guy for the fact that he's
boss,
kicking ass in all of these small municipalities who are just he's just literally attacking injustice, and I'm fucking stoked for him, and I voted for him to be my vice president in the last election cycle, and when he's running for president, he so far has my vote unless some other miraculous thing were to happen. So I'm here for it, man.
I love this little line. As far as I knew, the First Amendment didn't have a time limit on it. I love that line.
Dude, that's so sick. I love when he breaks all those city council balls, man. That's where change is really made in the trenches in every tiny municipality across the United States.
I can agree with that 100%. I mean, you do have a bigger impact at the smaller scale. It's true.
And it's great to see him show up and defend those people. So.
Yes, sir.
Well, John, hey, appreciate you calling in, and we'll talk soon, okay, brother?
Yes, sir. You guys take care.
All right, be well.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. John rules, man.
does rule, man.
He's always kicking ass. His content's always great, and it shines a light on some of these things. And even a lot of times, like if you just watch his TikTok or you watch his Instagram, he gives you kind of the headline and gives you the opportunity to go and search it out yourself if you don't end up watching his YouTubes and stuff like that. But if you're just here, you can go, whoa, what is he talking about? I haven't heard that news.
You know what's crazy is every time he posts a video, I don't hear it until I watch his videos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that happened today? Shit, where the fuck was I been?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like that was my biggest thing about getting off social media is like I'm kind of a hawk when it comes to my algorithm's pretty hard and set up for a lot of political news and a lot of conspiracy type stuff. I guess I probably, and I kind of felt like, not that I was necessarily in an echo chamber, but, because a lot of it is coming out like true, whether it's the Maui stuff or whether it's the stuff that's happening in Morocco. It's more of just like people talking about the possibility of some of these tragedies being man-made.
Yep.
And a little bit of that is just whether I believe it or not, when people start presenting that case, like no longer do people get the benefit of the doubt that it was just natural, even though, I mean, we're talking about Morocco has the biggest earthquake they've had in 120 years, a month following Maui's wildfire.
120 that they could record.
Yeah,
So-
and then they had another 6.4 magnitude in the 50s or something like that. And then they had another big earthquake in 2004, but this one is by far the worst. It happened at a terrible time, like 11 p.m.
If you can, and everyone's
when
asleep
people are
now.
in their beds. Yeah.
If you could predict the next natural disaster to hit anywhere in the world, where do you think it's going to be?
Well, you had Maui, then you had Turkey, then you have Morocco.
Yep.
So you're kind of moving along these. I don't really know if, I mean, obviously, like if you want to think about like Turkey's kind of a place where
You're trying to establish a pattern.
yeah, you want to figure out what it is. I mean, maybe the wildfires are different than the earthquakes, and I don't really get, maybe it's the age of buildings. Like Morocco's an old country, Turkey's an old country. Are you going to have the largest impact if you were to say that these earthquakes were man-made somehow?
Like population control?
Yeah, are you going to have the largest impact by destroying old homes, right? These houses are old, or maybe you need to clear out some of this infrastructure so you can put better high rises, make more modern cities, especially somewhere like Morocco, which is kind of like, for people who aren't familiar, it's like a very closely tied to France and how, French people go to Morocco for vacation. Marrakesh is a very is a wild place. Like people go there. It's like it's kind of like if we were to go to Cabo or something like that, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
it was crazy when I heard that speech from Kamala Harris talking about we have to have population control.
yeah, I mean, and I don't know that, and maybe it's because these places are a little bit densely populated and old, or maybe that's why there's so much death is because the buildings themselves are just old and they
Right.
crumble.
But it's a test.
But how crazy is it that in this time you've had this giant magnitude in Turkey, giant magnitude in Morocco, and like John said, maybe it's all attributed to the fact that the center of the earthquake's spinning. Maybe it's attributed to celestial bodies getting close to Earth and creating a push and pull of tectonic plates. I'm not a geologist, so I'm probably the worst person to speak on this, but I am a bullshit detector.
Yeah.
And when you're sniffing out bullshit, if you look at the places where things are going to go wrong or going to happen, or where you want to start implanting aid, right? So like all the aid that's waiting, like there was a bunch of aid that was like a bunch of the Rescuers Without Borders were like not allowed entry into Morocco.
Yeah.
That's a huge group that does a lot of good, helping people. So like, why would you delay that? Why wouldn't you let anybody?
That's
who
where
can
those
help
red
in?
flags come up. I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is a test.
Yeah. So I couldn't say exactly where the next thing could happen, but I don't think it's going like. I don't think it's necessarily going to happen in one of these like larger countries. I mean, even with the United States, like Maui's pretty far away.
Hmm?
You know, Maui's as far away from the United States as possible. And what's with all the people going to Alaska?
I don't know.
What is with the Alaska like pilgrimage? Like all these Democrats going to Alaska? Like what's happening in Alaska? Is it some positioning with Russia? Is it whatever because it's proximity to Russia? Like I have no idea. I've never researched what's going on with everybody going to Alaska or why it's important right now to go do that.
My only thought process in that is there something up there that they have built that they're trying to establish?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it could definitely happen. I just kind of look at it and say the same thing. Like, why we have all of these people with their eyes on what happened in Morocco? Okay, so let's just focus on Morocco. We had all these people with their eyes on Maui. What happened with Maui? Now Maui has the earthquakes or the volcano, or not Maui, but Hawaii has volcanoes and all this stuff happening. Like, wow, man, that sucks. Like, this is like a really double kick to the nutsack.
Feels like it, don't it?
Yeah, and I mean, then we have the, kind of the start of the campaign, right? Like the kind of the start of the 2024 election.
I don't say the C word, but with all this new variant stuff coming about, I think it's going to drop right before the campaign like it did last time.
Yeah, I mean, I could 100% see that happening. New boosters out, new everything, new advertisements. I really start seeing a lot of the ad dollars spent on some of these network televisions.
Yeah, NBC, ABC, all those things
to
are
push
hard.
The new booster, new vaccine, new this, new that, new things, new ways that you can help save grandma. The crazy part to me, and I think this was the number one cause of me removing myself from social media, was I was actually getting pissed, right? Like, yeah. I'm actually reading it and I'm like, wow, people are going to fall for this again. Like, people are going to fall for this again. You can show the edited videos of Fauci in the beginning, Fauci in the middle, and Fauci in the end, and how completely different all three of those narratives were, and what he was saying, he said, what he didn't say, and how I never said that, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. Like, that's crazy that we heard, oh, masks don't work. Even wildfire smoke, masks don't work. But N95s don't work on kids because they don't fit right because air gets in. Wait, what? You're telling me for like a year and a half,
these are working.
This is working to stop a virus, but it can't stop smoke. I mean, we're talking about the particulates of this virus. And I even said the same thing. The parts per million of the virus are smaller than the N95 filtration, but I work in industrial application. I understand how some of these filters on these industrial N95. I mean, I wear them.
That's stuff we have to pass through safety tests. I mean, that's what we did in the military.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. And then you start trying to see the size, and I never even researched whether it was too small or too big. I just max parts per million, filtration on an N95. And then research the size of that. And then I come up with this correlation on my own. Wow, that number's smaller than that number, so it should go through the hole. But like I said, and then on top of that, that is a one-way valve. So it only filters one way, So I don't know. I don't get it. I guess if all this stuff worked, then why wouldn't the argument be, then if it works, then do it and save yourself, and anybody who doesn't do it can die, and they're dumb. And we're fine. But instead it's like, no, we have this thing, we need this compliance, we need these numbers up. Like,
well, that's the thing, is they're going to start pushing those mandates again to schools, and there's a lot of people, and it's not just schools, it's restaurants, it's back to where they're like, okay, well, they're going to start doing lockdown stuff. I'm like, what are people going to do? So, I get a 50-50 mix of people saying that we're not going to follow by it. It was terrible last time. I got people that are like, oh, we're still going to follow by it.
I've already made the statement that if for some reason my kid can't go to school in person, I'm going to move her to a school that's in person. If I have to homeschool her, then I'm going to homeschool her myself, and I'm going to try and reap a state benefit.
Yeah.
For teaching my own kid.
Yeah.
I pay taxes for my kid to go to school. While the school she goes to is pretty good. I'm not trying to shit on the school she goes to.
Oh, yeah.
But again, it's still part of the indoctrination, right? Like, they're still teaching this indoctrinating be a good worker bullshit. They're not out here trying to make people be the best versions of themselves. They're just basically teaching people how to be good workers and show up on time and have attendance.
Problem is,
it's
public school. How can you mandate and force somebody in public school to do a mask mandate?
Yeah, I mean,
private school, yeah, sure, why not? You're paying that money to be there. It's a privilege to be there. Like you're paying your way through. I understand that. There's different. You're wearing uniforms. You're doing that. That they can make that part of the uniform.
I think that would be that should always and 100% be a school. So, like, as far as the public school goes, they're going to say, hey, we're providing you with this service for free. So, like, hey, you're going to do what we say because this is our thing. That's why, like, when we were kids, we couldn't wear Dickies top and bottom at the same time in my school because people who were in gangs wore Dickies pants and Dickies work shirts of their matching gang color. Like, super, super dumb shit. Like, who cares if this is the style or this is whatever? But because of this, you can't wear your hair in this certain braid. You can't wear your hair this certain way.
Which I think is bullshit.
Right? Like, this is how school was, and they just basically said, hey, you're going to fucking take it or leave it, and if you fucking leave it, then we're going to put you on truancy, and we're going to give your parents a ticket, and we're going to tax you for not coming and being indoctrinated by our shit, and then we're going to make you go to an alternative school where it's worse, and blah, blah, blah.
I hated alternative school, man.
All this stuff is fucking weird, and then, but at the same time, when you go to a private school, you go to a charter school model, like Tim Kennedy has the Apogee, or I think it's called Apogee. I'm probably saying it wrong. I don't fucking know. But Apogee, they started their own school down in Austin, and it is a faith-based school, I'm pretty sure. But basically, they're teaching what the history that they learned or the history that is known rather than the history that people now want to make the narrative, whether you're getting rid of slavery or you're getting rid of the Confederacy during and it's not because people want people to be like, I don't know. I guess I don't understand why some of this stuff isn't being taught in schools anymore. Even the World War II narrative is a little bit different in
I asked my
now.
kids today if they learned anything about 9/11, and my middle schooler said they like touched base about it, but my third grader said they didn't talk about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
I think they did a moment of silence or something this morning, but I'm like, what's the reasoning behind it all? Like, that was like when I was in third grade, that's when it happened. Fourth grade, it was already in my history books.
Yeah.
It was already a big picture of bin Laden was like plastered in there and talking about him, and then the World Trade Center's on top, and then the next two pages.
Because all that stuff has kind of gone, the involvement of Saudi Arabia is, no longer a deal. The weapons of mass destruction, no longer a deal. Like, all of this came.
Or does it roll into public school, and you're seeing more and more refugees come with certain backgrounds, and that might be offensive to certain backgrounds, so they don't teach that in public schools anymore.
Well, I mean, obviously, if you just taught the fact that it happened, you don't have to teach an opinion about, because they still don't know. I mean, even if they say that the people that did it, right, were these people that they say did it, the plane hijackers.
Yeah.
Okay. Every person who did a bad thing has a background.
Right.
So if I can watch a Unabomber documentary, he's a white guy who went to Harvard from Chicago.
Yep.
Right? So every white guy from Chicago, you're supposed to never teach about the Unabomber because every white guy in Chicago is going to be pissed off you taught about it.
I agree 100% with where you're at. I can't think of any other way. I mean, of course.
No, they don't teach it because they don't want anyone to talk about it because everybody who questioned it was starting to sniff too close. Right. So they stopped talking about it. Even when we talk about Pearl Harbor, there's already been information. Everyone knew the attack was going to happen on Pearl Harbor. Right. They knew that it was a way to drag the United States into war. FDR knew that the war would pull the United States out of the Depression.
Right.
Right. Which by some accounts was better than how we live today.
No, it is by
the metric of the dollar. Like, apparently we make less money than people made in the Depression right now.
By far less.
Which is crazy to me because how good was the 20s if the Depression was better than we live right now? Like, damn, I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that are struggling to pay their bills and everything else like that, but like most of these motherfuckers are paying their bills. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I don't see this crazy downturn in the economy. Maybe it's where we live, maybe it's whatever, but it's not that I don't see a downturn in the economy. I see a downturn in the value of the dollar.
Yeah.
So like people are still spending that dollar that's worth a little bit less on more expensive Chick-fil-A. That Chick-fil-A line is fucking deep, dude.
It's stupid. And their prices have each gone up at least 45 cents per meal.
To $1, yeah. The Costco parking lot is fucking packed to the back row.
Yeah.
Like, what is everyone doing at Costco if they have no money? Like the fucking McDonald's line, double line, full every time.
Every time. Because that's where our priorities are, man.
And we were just talking about this today, right?
What better way than live unhealthy and fucking waste your money on bullshit?
Supposedly we've added more jobs. Biden's added more jobs than any president ever. Like, are those fucking second jobs? Is he excited he made people go get a second job?
Has to be.
Like, whether you're being a fucking Lyft driver, Uber driver, fucking DoorDash guy, like, we were talking about this. My buddy, the guy who works for me, he was asking me, he's like, why is there now hiring signs everywhere, but the unemployment's as low as ever? And I asked him, I said, have you ever looked how many people in total work for McDonald's?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm talking about in the entire United States.
Yeah.
It's 200,000 people.
Okay. And then
200,000 people. You know how many people work for Amazon?
There's a lot.
1.5 million.
Yeah.
You know how many people work for Walmart?
There's a lot. There's a lot of Walmarts.
2.3 million. If you took the Amazon employees, you took the Walmart employees, you added them together, you could outfit every fast food restaurant, every grocery store in America with too many employees.
Mm-hmm.
So when you divide that market into this at-home delivery market, your local availability will completely diminish because everyone's working in the distribution center. This is why when the fucking Instacart happened, I was so vehemently against it.
Yeah.
I would hate to have a barrier of entry to grocery shopping. Like, I need to have an iPhone, an app, and a credit card or a debit card in order to buy my fucking groceries. I can't take green US dollars and my feet and walk into a store and buy a fucking apple. And this is a big part of why I completely dislike a lot of the laziness that technology and applications on cell phones cause. Because later on, now it starts as an option, then it becomes the only option. And when it's the only option, you now have a requirement, which is basically levied as a tax. You have to buy the iPhone or the Samsung Galaxy or whatever it is so that you can order your
That's
groceries.
all that's left. It's either Google, Samsung, or iPhone.
You can that way you can order your groceries.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you should have to have extra shit bought to go buy extra shit.
It's making America lazy again.
Not only just like making America lazy for the first time, right? Like, every other time, nobody in fucking history, like, we went from having to grow our own food to now having a grocery store, or we went to growing our own food to markets to co-ops to fucking to other, people setting up roadside stands or whatever you want, right? To grocery stores, to TV dinners and frozen shit and all this to fast food and blah 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 blah. Like, in the last 70 years, there's been a revolution of how people eat, and how they eat is making them slower, weaker, dumber, fatter.
Yep.
And that's why I've made a commitment to get in better shape, right? Like, if shit
what better way to control America than to take them out slowly and poison?
Yeah. And
I don't know. That's just how I feel.
Right? Like, Europe has done a great job of getting rid of a lot of this stuff in their food. United States can't.
WALL-E's a good example. The movie WALL-E.
The movie WALL-E. Yeah, you're riding around in your little fucking cart, right? Like, you're just having your little food delivered.
Is that not weird as hell?
Your bones are all soft. Yeah, I mean they blatantly
throw hints at you everywhere.
In your face,
everywhere,
in your face, dude. Here you go. Like, it's a sad state of affairs when, you can say this to your blue in the face, and somebody else just be like, "You're just being a dickhead." Right? Like, there's a lot of people that would hear everything I just said about the Instacart thing, this and that and this, and like, oh my God, that'll never happen. And like, you worrying about that or you losing sleep over that is so ridiculous. And it's like, hey man, somebody has to think about it. Somebody has to, and like, I'm getting to the point now where it's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not going to participate in all of these new ways of technology that take the individual's control out. I'm already bummed out enough that I have to just go to the grocery store and get what's selected for me, that I don't get to see what the distributors have. I don't get to go directly to the co-op and buy directly from the farmer. And we live in a place where you can. Like, I've bought a lot of my meat directly from ranchers.
Yeah. I get my produce from local guys at produce stands here.
Yeah, we try to go to farmers markets and do what we can do and make sure that we're putting the money directly into the farmers or the small
There's no middleman anymore.
Yeah, well, the grocery store, what do we get? Like, I was on vacation. I was on vacation.
3 weeks ago, roughly 2 weeks ago.
This was the vacation before that, the Colorado vacation.
Got it.
So it was like a couple months back. One of the people there was an apple farmer. He was his family owned a gigantic apple co-op in Michigan. And it's apple harvest season, whatever. They're out ripping some motorcycles. They were going to Sturgis a week or so after when we were in Colorado. But they were from Michigan, so they took a bunch of ride like down through the mountains. They're going to go up through the mountains, back through South Dakota, and then they were going to head home the next week, right? He's explaining apples growing to me, which is crazy. All apples are handpicked. Like I knew this thing. All apples are handpicked. Like, so you have migrant workers that come up and they run the fields. The apples that are picked are then put into these like silos where they pump in like Zyklon B or whatever the fuck gas it is. I can't remember what gas he said. Ammonia maybe, some gas that keeps them from spoiling.
That's crazy.
For 13 months.
That's so bad.
And then they have to be burped, right? Like they have to be breathed for so the apple you ate yesterday probably came off the tree over a year ago.
Yeah.
Like,
so
there's no way that
that's why they had that little wax coating over them.
There's no way that apple.
Hot water. Have you ever done that though? They take hot water and pour it over your apple and watch all that stuff just peel off of it.
Yeah, there's no way.
I do it one time and taste the difference, and it will blow your mind.
I try to get a bunch of my apples from the orchard. Like, I try to go to the spot down in Nebraska City or whatever.
Yep.
Like I still eat store apples.
We got Vallis right here.
Yeah, I still eat store apples and stuff, but damn, like every time I hear this thing about how this stuff is produced,
it fucking rocks you.
It's like, Jesus Christ, like why can't we just eat fresh apples?
Yeah. Like
I know they got to go across the country, but like, is there a way to get them across the country? If they can live in a fucking silo for 13 months and then survive on a across the country drive, what is it that we can do to get them just to not live in the fucking silo with chemicals? And I'm not sure of non-GMO or fucking
you think corn's the same way?
Organic. No, corn is grown. I mean, I've never heard of anything but corn harvested and sold. All the corn, I mean, obviously, you get great corn here in Nebraska. All that corn is Roundup ready, though. All that corn already has the ability to be poisoned and not die. Yeah. Like, that Roundup ready corn is fucking out there, and it's like, that...
corn's not good for you anyways. It has no nutritional values.
What are the effects of Roundup ready corn? Like what have they done to society? What have they done to birth rates? Like what have they done to people's fertility? What have they done? Like I can't say one way or the other whether or not, but everyone knows the fucking weird shit that happens with some of that fucking Roundup Monsanto, whatever the fuck AJ always talks about, with the frogs. I'm just saying, man, like I don't fucking get it. I don't get why we can't simplify. Like the whole world needs, first off, we need to elect politicians that will say no and undo a lot of things.
A lot of
Smaller
things.
Government, undo a bunch of shit, and let's simplify everything. Like our infrastructure, the way that like manufacturing is ran, which is crazy, right? Like all of these huge conglomerate corporations outside of pharmaceutical, food, water production, basically, right? Like they all run on this crazy lean principle. Like like Toyota came out with this just-in-time stuff like back in the 70s or something,
right?
And basically, like you never have more of each part than you'll ever need for this amount of time. And when this bin gets low on parts, they automatically are refilled by the supplier.
I think it's great that we want to get these people in the office, do these changes, make these things happen. But at the end of the day, I think we already dug our grave so far that we can't come out of anything that we're already getting involved in.
If you,
not in my life, I'm not going to see a difference.
I'm not saying that that you can clean house, but I'm saying that if there was a possibility to get, like, for instance, what's his name, Vivek Ramaswamy, the guy running for Republican president.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
I think, am I saying his name right?
I think I
Vivek
can't
Ramaswamy.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey
pronounce it.
Vivek, whatever your last name's cool. I'm not trying to be a shitbag. I just fucking don't remember exactly what it is because I've only read it like one time in my life, right? Like Vivek constantly talks about the power of the executive branch. I heard him on Andy Frizella's podcast. Shouts out to Andy Frizella. You're the fucking greatest. 75 hard is the most difficult mental toughness.
That is. I have a lot of friends that
do.
completed it, and it's fucking mind blowing.
I'm on day 7, so very difficult. Day
Yep.
7's been hard. Okay, that's all it is. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I was listening to Vivek on there, and he talks about the power of the executive branch. He talks about the ability for the executive branch to do mass layoffs in any redundant or cost savings needs in the United States government. So they can get rid of entire groups of people.
Yeah.
They can just fire them. They can just lay them off and say, sorry, man, you guys are costing too much. Hey, this is redundant. This is already controlled by this group.
And why hasn't that already been done?
Because if you start poking the bear and getting rid of people, it might be you that gets fired next. Like, how many...
Domino effect?
Yeah, and you can't just start fucking up all the people who you juiced in those positions so that they can make the bribes that you took work. All these people, you know, like he said, he's going to come in, and he always says if he came in, he was elected president, he's going to work for those 8 years knowing that he's leaving after 8 and it's just been a portion of his life. It's not meant to make money. It's not meant, it was a volunteer. It's not meant for any shit, and he's going to come in, he's going to leave it better than he found it, and he knows that in that time, just with his ability as the head of the executive branch, he can make those changes. Is that possible? If he did that, would that be the start of everybody waking up and realizing that there's way too much fat in Washington? Or do we have to continue spending an additional, I think when I did the math, what we have in additional deficit daily, wait, I can't remember what it was. There was a number that I found that was like, I'm trying to remember exactly how it worked. Basically, when I did the math on what was happening with our deficit, what was increased, whatever, over a certain amount of time, you give every American $35,000. Like,
almost. No, I wouldn't want to compare.
So like,
I don't
so
want to
like
compare it to that.
If we want to, if whatever, we can shout out Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang was already here. Andrew Yang was talking this week. Andrew Yang was dressing down Donald Trump and Joe Biden and talking about no labels party. We can even talk about no labels party. Like, that's a thing. But like, yeah, universal basic income. I'm not a big fan of universal basic income, but that's just because I'm a capitalist or whatever. You know, like I believe in capitalism. I think that it's that. Being able to be independent of the system, even though we're not, right? Like, we're taxed 40%.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Probably more after you talk about sales tax, local tax, everything else. You know, you're probably in the 60% range, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're getting less than half. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that sounds outrageous. But how do you make that change? And also, if we're going to talk about Vivek, since I got his platform during this podcast, he said 12% flat tax, which is, you know, I mean, okay, every person pays the same, their portion, every person pays a proportional amount to what they make. Like,
How would that help? Like, how would government assistance work in that factor, though? Same way it's working here now.
Well, they're not contributing now, so yeah, I mean, whatever. Obviously, it's the same way that would happen with people that work for the government. The people that work for the government don't pay tax.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They're
So
paid out of tax money.
So take that government money and just, hey, this is what you can get. This would be like an example setter, right? We're already giving them money. I mean, and I don't bash on anybody that's on Stay Help. I was on Stay Help when I was younger. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But the whole point of it is to get on it and then get your feet established and then move on from it.
Absolutely.
Not live on it for the rest of your life. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already government money, so it doesn't even matter, right? But how about you tax whatever you're going to say, hey, this is what you could get. But hey, we're going to tax you like every other American's getting taxed, and you're only going to get this much. I never look at
like, it's almost the same way that I solve certain problems in my own life. I never try and look at $20,000 problems when we're talking about $3 million problems.
Right.
If you had the tax revenue of everybody at 12%, including the billionaires,
mm-hmm.
you would probably not have a problem helping out those supposedly America has 11.6% of people living under the poverty line. I don't know how many of those people are actually receiving state help.
Yeah.
But even when it comes to Social Security, even when it comes to, pensions, all that stuff, postal pensions, people that work for the government, those pensions, they're the ones, like right now we're talking about our government budget right now. It's September.
Yep.
They're going to fight over it. It's going to be a weird thing where there's going to be some flex and a bunch of dick measuring. And so for me, if I'm going to talk about I would never worry about state health. I would worry about how we can, the number one way to grow your income in your own personal life is to spend less money.
For sure.
If you yourself, Harvey, wanted to have more money, the first thing you can do and the most controlling thing you can do is just spend less.
Right. And I've noticed that.
Whether it's get on a budget, whether it's cut the fat, whether it's quit the gas station trips, whether it's this and this and this, right? If our government stopped the gas station trips, stopped the corruption, stopped the fucking unlimited blank checks to foreign nations that they owe bribe money to, quote unquote, fact check that, sorry, it's, comeback's false. They're not really repaying a bribe is what they're going to say, whatever, right? Somehow this weird place that was a big part of corruption for the since 2013.
Stop unnecessary spending and save back money and apply it to things that we need.
Yeah, let's get rid of redundancy. Let's get rid of bureaucrats. Let's get rid of lobbyists. Let's get rid of all this shit. But that's where all the money is. And
why do people in the White House, why do they get paid so much?
I mean,
they do so little. They do so little.
I mean, we're talking about would the president make $800,000 or something?
Not even the fucking president. I mean, just people that sit on the Senate, people that don't literally do shit.
$274,000 a year.
But they show up to a meeting that they sit there and half of them don't even say a fucking word.
Yeah,
and they hit a button, yes or no.
They've created no legislation. They've vehemently haven't opposed any legislation.
The popularity vote.
That's
how you get there. It's popularity.
Yeah, it's not even popularity because there's a barrier to entry. Like Tyler, you could be the most popular motherfucker on earth, but you can't be president unless you got 500 million.
Right.
You can't even start to run. You want to be governor, you need 50 million.
Just to be in anywhere in that range of what they get. I mean, just
you want to be a senator, X amount of dollars. Okay, so why in the world? Okay, let's just talk about being a governor. I don't know what the governor makes, whatever. We can probably look it up. But to win a governor race, it takes $50 million of donors money,
which is crazy.
$50 million. You're not even going to make $50 million doing that job. So, what does it? How does it benefit you? How does it benefit you? And how is that $50 million going to be repaid when you have a lender or a donor or whomever cover your expenses, or a super PAC or whomever cover your campaign costs, like your campaign contributions, or even the people, even when you talk about small donations, like Robert Kennedy Jr. he's getting all these small donations. Bernie Sanders was big on small donations. Even Donald Trump was big on small donations. How are you held accountable, at least, to do the will of these people who were really believing in you? If you don't follow through with what you said, man, you stole their money. At some point, do you not owe them a little bit? I mean, isn't that
every presidential candidate race that we ever see?
Is this quid pro quo already? Because we have money in politics, let's remove money in politics. If we're going to talk, we bring Andrew Yang back up. When he was running for president, he talked about what the hell did he call him? What the fuck was it called? Not political dollars, but anyway, it was a way
I heard that on his campaign speech.
Yeah, he wanted to be able to give each person X amount of dollars that they could push towards any campaign that came out of a super fund or whatever. Fine. If every person was able to just kind of divide up the money, and that one everyone gave it all to one guy, and that one guy could have the best name recognition ever, that still shouldn't guarantee that he wins. It should be who votes for him. So even if the majority of people in this state or that state or this state or that state gave it to him, we already know how the Electoral College works. It's so New York City, Chicago, Miami, Dallas, and Los Angeles can't vote out the entire middle of the country.
No.
So it's meant to add a certain level of value to being a citizen, even if you're a citizen in a state where there's 1.3 million people. These cities have 5 to 3 to 5 times the amount of people as our state. So that's why there's so much power. Even when you look at Iowa's double the size of Nebraska in population. Like, come on, man. Like you're trying to make the best. You're trying to make the best thing work, and you can't even have your values represented in Washington because all of these like-minded people on the coast, like this is why everyone calls for the end of the Electoral College, because everyone hates it. But if you're in a flyover state, like it's the only thing, it's the last remaining tenet of, your belief set or whatever. And it's like, I don't know. I can't say, and if we move strictly to a whoever gets the most votes, I like how Maine does this. It's like there's certain points to each vote. So like you would give you would just list the candidates in different order.
Yeah.
That way you don't end up with like a 2-way tie or whatever. Yeah. Like you list it and like number 1 gets 5 points, number 2 gets 4 points, whatever. And they add all that up and then that's how they win. So,
this is legit.
So if you're a guy who gets second on everybody's, so everybody has between these 2 major players, but everybody else votes you as 2 and everybody vote number 1 and as half and ever half, but this guy got 100%, then 1 and 2, the 2 major political parties that were fighting each other don't win. The number 2 guy wins.
Yeah.
He gets the most points.
Yeah.
Like, dude, sick. Like,
seems fair to me.
I don't know if that happens in Maine,
like
federal elections,
right?
But I know that I've heard that's a state level thing. So, hey, let's go. Let's try and implement something so where,
dude, I'm just all for change, man. I'm tired of seeing the same shit in the news. I'm tired of seeing the same bullshit about every president. It's the same fucking thing, man. I just want unity. I want the respect for the people. I just want to see people stop suffering financially, mentally. I want to see better mental health for everybody, not just men, but for women and kids, especially kids.
Yeah.
I want to see it all. And it's not there, and that's not on anybody's agenda. It's not there right now.
Well, what are our journeys right now, right? Like,
to focus on fucks overseas, man.
Adversity in your life creates confidence. Like, obviously, like not across the board. It's not a straight line path. But like, if you were an athlete and you bust your ass in practice, you create character. Like
set an example.
Yeah, like Derek Wolf. Derek Wolf said he was on Cam Haines' podcast, and he said, which Keep Hammering Collective or Lift Run Shoot, Keep Hammering Collective, great podcast. Anyway, he was saying that when he was a ball player, he got John Fox, coach of the Broncos at the time when he played for the Broncos, told him, you get paid for practice. The games are just for fun. And it's like, if we treat our life that way,
it's a good way to look at it, I guess, yeah.
That adversity or the tough days of our life is like what we're getting paid for. This is where the money comes. This is where the ability to have a leveled response to adversity comes in. And if we did have this leveled response to adversity, we wouldn't turn into little bitches something bad happened. We wouldn't look to attack everyone around us. We could have a guy cut us off in traffic and go, okay, that really didn't even fuck my day up.
Sometimes it does, though.
It was rude of him, right?
Yeah.
It was rude, but like also, I'm fine, he's fine, my car's fine.
Yeah.
We're just mad that somebody seemed like that they felt they were more important than us.
Yep.
Well, to them, they are.
Makes sense.
And to you, you're only mad because you think you're more important than them, right? Like, let's just all just say, fuck it.
Bitch, your shit stinks too.
Let's stop finding reasons to be upset because it's so easy to be upset. You live in this world of like all these, like, so social media in particular spends its entire time glamorizing life.
Yeah.
It makes you think that what you're doing is total fucking bullshit and a waste of your fucking time.
I feel like that, though. You see the shit on there and you're like, fuck, man, what am I doing in my life?
You're just not editing the best fucking bullshit in. You're just not fucking $30,000 in credit card debt. Like, like, I'm not saying all those people are, but a lot of these motherfuckers are going to bed or they're fucking in rented cars and rented condos and they're going to get evicted. They're not going to fucking make it. They're hoping that by the time that they get, that they'll build the following that pays for their way.
Yeah.
prior to that resource of loaned money runs out.
Right.
You know, and even if they are living that life and they are going out and they are doing this and that, are they not still the minority? Are they not still, you know, just a small segment of people that a lot of people follow? Of course, 1 million people are going to follow this person because all they do is cool shit.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't do anything cool. I'm not ever doing anything. I'm fucking going to work every day.
I'm not doing anything.
I know for a fact that I spend a lot of my time working, and even if I was follow the European model, I should work about half as much as I do.
Yeah.
Right? I should travel more. I should be more present at home. You know, not that I'm not at my house all the time.
No, but you physically want to be more present. I'm the same way because I work. I do the same thing. You know, I'm from morning till night. I'm working. I mean, if I'm not working, I'm doing something else. I try to make my time for my family, but sometimes trying to get status quo and getting on that level that I want my podcast to be, or I want my channels to get, I get so involved and so wrapped into that that I forget that I'm in reality.
I'm about to break it off for you though, dude. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yep.
Like, Jesus, like, isn't it fucking cool? Like, dude, I even say this, like, if I've been on my runs in the morning and shit. Like, I'll fucking look at my splits and like, God, that was slow as fuck. Or, you know, fuck, I weigh 300 fucking pounds. Like, I'm not going to run like fucking Jackie Joyner Kersey up in this motherfucker, right? Like, I'm not gonna, dude. I'm not going to be Michael Johnson. I'm not going to be fucking Usain Bolt. You know, I'm not going to be any of these fucking people. I'm not even going to be your local fucking triathlete.
But you're you. And you're beating goals.
You're running by a bunch of motherfuckers sleeping in their house. Like, if I want to talk about that, I'm running by people they're fucking sleeping in.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
that's a good perspective.
Every person, like, I called my buddy one time years ago when I was getting ready for some of the triathlons. You know, like, I've done triathlons big. Like,
is that the triathlon guy that you talked to?
No. My triathlon guy killed his triathlon, though. Like, my best bud, Dan, he killed his triathlon yesterday. He's set a personal record in his Olympic, and now he's looking at like a half Ironman. Like, he just started this thing this year. It's been super inspirational to me.
He's done a few of them.
Yeah, part of the reason why I'm getting in shape right now is like he's been pretty inspiring to me. Shouts out to Dan. We've been friends since we were like 12 years old. He crashed his motorcycle in 2007, broke his face, coma, 30 days, all this shit, broke his back, broke all kinds of shit, had a fucking tooth in his lung, collapsed lung. He actually got rescue 911 saved on the side of the road by a dude rolling by.
That's so crazy.
Like, he would be dead, but a guy.
So he looks at life a whole different way.
Well, can you think about like what are your two choices? Your two choices are, I'm gonna just indulge and have fun because I survived, or I'm meant for a bigger purpose. I survived.
For sure.
I think he's had the most leveled and steady approach to surviving. And, you know, he's got kids now. He's a good dad. Like, he goes to his kids' games. Like, he busts his ass at work. He's a good worker. Like, he helps out people all the time. Like, he's a pretty selfless guy. Like, he goes and does fucking helps people with their cars. Like, he's a super whiz when it comes to EFI and putting fuel injection on cars. So whether it's mini squirts and all this other shit, right? Like, he will be the guy to help you build your motor. He will be the guy to show up to help you do a thing. Like, he does not have a fucking cell phone. He has never had a cell phone.
That's crazy.
In his fucking life, he's never had a cell phone. If you want to get a hold of him, you leave him a message or you do whatever. You tell his wife, hey, you're looking for him next time he sees her. Like, when he leaves the house, I'll be home. He doesn't hear from his family. If they call the work phone occasionally, hey, what's up? This is changing.
Right.
Hangs the phone up. Like it was the fucking 1990s. Like, and he's happy as fuck. He's one of the happiest, most level-headed guys. And I think a lot of times he's also direct, and he's also, some people find him a bit coarse because he doesn't, I think that he doesn't care to mince words. I think he's a very direct person, and sometimes people want you to add a little fluff. You want you to stroke their ego and appease them a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's kind of just like, hey, man, you know, like, if you're a dickhead, he call you a dickhead. You know, hey, you're being a dickhead right now. Like, knock that off. Or if so-and-so did something and he sees it and his opinion is that's stupid, if he feels the need that, hey, man, what you just did there was really stupid, he'll just say it. He's not going to go say it to somebody 2 minutes later behind your back. He's just going to say it right to your face. And I can respect that. I can respect a little bit of directness. But, you know, one of the things about his not having a phone and doing this and this, and like even one of the things about like he still watches YouTube. He has a lot, iPod or iPad
Right.
or a tablet to watch shit. He plays Fortnite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with his kids, like he's not like anti-technology. He's just like, hey man, fucking cell phones ruin people, and like long before he said this just feels like it's a weird thing that I don't want to have to carry around.
Yeah.
So like he just was anti it, and like how many hours has he saved? How much more has he participated in his own life?
Time from the screen, all that shit.
Yeah, and just watching his kids grow up and being there and not just sitting in the shitter for 45 minutes till his legs go numb.
Yeah.
Like he poops in 5 minutes, dude.
Yep.
Like, so part of that, part of the way of my focus and part of the 75 hard shit, part of all this stuff comes from thinking like, okay, this guy fucked himself up, got in a bad wreck, did this and this. This is many years ago, 15 years ago. Comes back from it, has a bunch of kids, does all this stuff, continues working a pretty tough job. Now at 38 years old, he decides at 38, I think he did his first triathlon. Actually, I think he did his first triathlon a month after his 38th birthday. Does a sprint triathlon, kicks its ass.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I thought that would be harder. Signs up for a second sprint because he said, I want to do it in under 100 minutes or whatever.
Right.
He did it in like 102 minutes or something. He was like, damn it, I could have done it way faster. I had a lot left in the tank.
Right.
But he'll have been training for 3 or 4 months. Goes on, does the next one in like in like the 80s or something, I want to say in like 80 minutes or something. Pretty fast for a sprint. Pretty cool. I mean, there's guys that do them lightning fast, but this guy's not a fucking swimmer. He's got fucking, a destroyed body, and he's still doing it. And then he says, well, I'm going to sign up for the Olympic. He finished middle of the pack, number 5 in 11 of his age group.
Hell yeah.
He just had some record stuff. That was his first sanctioned mile swim. He did it in 37 minutes. The guy who did it fast did it in like the low 20s. So like that's where you see the difference. Like, yeah. And then the ride was very hard. He said the ride was hard and hilly, but he said that he did it. And it's a tough one to go fast on. Yeah. There's better ones out there, but yeah, he did it. And kind of with his inspiration, he actually sent me a thing last night, like about the Lincoln. He thinks now he's going to do the Lincoln half marathon.
That'd be cool.
That's November 5th. He's like just going to stack it all this year. Like, a year ago, he's never done any endurance challenge, anything ever. He decided this year this was going to be a thing he was going to do.
And he has a few under his belt.
Yeah, and he's going to make
more.
He's going to make a thing. Like we've been talking a lot about just doing a YouTube of some of these weird things that we've been talking about doing. Like you've kind of heard about my weird scooter ride.
Yep.
Because those guys that were riding the fucking scooters. You know what I mean? Like. This stuff is like, these are the things that are like, okay, this is what's interesting to me. Like, if I'm going to do something, like if I'm going to, I know that I can do more. And I know that also like, could you imagine, like how much do you weigh, Tyler?
205.
Okay. So could you imagine taking 125 pounds, strapping on your body and living your life?
Yeah, no, it'd be hard.
Yeah. I mean, fucking weigh 300. I weighed 316 pounds, right? Like, I fucking don't, and it's not like I'm incapable. I do
not
shit.
Like you're in fucking terrible shape. You're fucking great.
I probably look a little fat on this camera. I look a lot fatter on this camera than I think I do in real life. But
that never brought to you because I never thought. Dude, to be honest, I've never seen you as a fat guy. I mean, you got fat, and then you got like, got your big guys that are tall and just. You're fucking tall and like
I'm fucking rocking. Bull. I'm rocking a little bit bigger on than dad bod status. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. You can't even give me the dad bod nod. Like when I'm at the beach and I take the old fucking shirt off, we got a fucking fat belly and love handles and And I'm not saying that I'm doing this for any vanity reasons or nothing like that. Like for me, I watched this dude. He had just started his own fitness Instagram. This is why I love Instagram, and this is why. And then there's a reason why I fucking hate Instagram. This guy was a firefighter. It's fucking, I forget his name, Resilient something. I want to say Resilient Strength, or I can't remember. He was a firefighter. He's up in my shit all the time. He was a firefighter. He started coaching, doing online coaching, then he made it his full-time job. He actually quit the fire department in Los Angeles and everything else. He has a sweet-ass mustache, bunch of cool tattoos. He's a cool guy. But this fucker does a bunch of calisthenics. Like, he does some weight workout, but he does a bunch of calisthenics. And, like, he will get on there. He's in his 30s.
Mm-hmm.
He will get on there and he will bang out like these crazy perfect burpees. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, bro, like
I wish I
watching
could do
this
that.
man bounce up and down off the ground was almost like a wake up call to me. Like, holy fuck, like,
Yeah.
fuck, I hate getting off the ground. Like, I don't even want to fall down
I know.
because I don't want to have to fucking get up. Like,
Yep.
I'm
Once
not
I'm
trying
down, man, I'm down.
That's what I'm saying. So like, I guess in my own mind, like there's a lot of other things to focus on, and I've done my duty. Like obviously this podcast, we talk about conspiracy, we talk about things, we do this, that.
Yeah.
Like it's important to kind of be in the know what's happening. But I've done my duty of trying to warn everybody of the coming doom. So since nobody listened to me then, I'm almost just going to ignore it and start living my fucking life, you know, aside from us being able to have these conversations, which are fun. And I'll never fucking stop. You know, I'll never stop, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll never stop looking at what's weird and fucked up.
It's embedded in your everyday. It's
Yeah.
the same with mine. I mean,
I don't know. I'm just like, fuck, dude. Like,
I can't get off the ground. I'm gonna tell you straight up. I have a problem struggling off the ground, and I don't know. I mean, I have back surgery, so I mean, I'm pretty messed up. But what's crazy to me is that I don't know. I feel like the more, like, I don't know. I've struggled with all my pain all my life, and so like when I get down and I'm like, damn, fuck, man, I gotta get up. Like it's like it hurts to get up.
yeah.
And then at that time, I'm like, is it my weight? Like I was only like 230. I think the heaviest I got was 238, which is heavy for me. I've never been. That's not.
Well, you're a little bit smaller frame guy for sure.
Right. So
You
I'm
know?
like, okay, that's a little bigger for me. So I went on this whole cleanse and I just lost all this weight and now I'm 205 and I love it. I mean, I feel great. But it's like, now I'm scared, like, what I eat, am I going to go back that weight just as fast? Like, and I don't want to because my back pain is like going away
Yeah.
and I feel great.
Yeah.
Like I feel energy. I feel energized. I have all this energy. I don't hurt.
But like how much of like your eating is based in your like emotions?
Yeah. It plays a factor too.
You fucking,
I stress eat all the time.
if your fucking job sucks, you're stressed out, or even if you're just super busy and you're just like, oh God, you know, everyone says, oh, you're super busy, oh fucking, all these guys on the internet, there's these dietitians, these trainers, these guys, oh, you're super busy, you can't fucking make some food ahead of time, you can't meal prep on Sunday, you can't do this and this and this, and it's like, bro, I get it, I get what you're saying, I get that I have time, I get it, I fucking get it.
Yeah.
But like sometimes the fucking weight of your stupid decisions, your life, whatever the fuck you've come up with, are difficult. Like you did the mental health episode, and it's like sometimes some of these things are just like, okay, I shouldn't be this upset about this, or this shouldn't bother me that bad, this and this and this. But it's like, damn it, you know, like I don't have this outlet. We're not doing these things like tribal men did, you know, 100, 200 years ago. I'm not saying tribal as in the fact of like fucking tribes. I'm saying like men that had to have camaraderie and do things. Even when I was a fucking kid, how many people did you know that were like adults that played like in a softball league?
All the time. My dad played it. I played it.
Everybody's fucking dad was in a softball league or a golf league or a fucking tennis league or like
just like us. We're in a top golf league
or a darts league.
Yeah.
You know, that's why the big reason why we do that. It's like, let's start creating a little bit of this camaraderie. Let's get a couple dudes together. Let's all just have a fucking afternoon to unwind and not think about anything except for how shitty we are at golf. Like that in itself is a good reset for like what we need to do. And I mean, I think I've got a lot of focus, and like I said, on day 7, a lot of focus in the last 7 days. And even when I was driving here, I was listening to some songs. I was in a fucking great mood. Well, I just got done fucking running hills, man. Yeah. Like I just got done running hills. I ran home, took a shower, cooked a fucking steak, ate some steak, came here.
Jetted here.
Like nothing else, no shit, coconut water, steak. Like that was dinner, and it's a couple jalapenos. But it's like, and that's not even saying like, it's not like I haven't been eating carbs because I'm not like on a keto diet. I'm not on whatever. I follow this Mike Dolce plan.
Yeah.
Dolce diet, Mike Dolce from MMA.
Mm-hmm.
Dude's sick. It's basically just eat fruit, vegetables, meat, you know, nothing processed. Like You know, the
Sounds good to me.
the stuff that you do eat that's processed, like he has these breakfast bowls you make with oatmeal or oat bran. They're great. They're fucking great. It's a great way to start the day. There's plenty of fruit involved, so I don't get the shugs. Like, I'm not having a problem with it.
I got some friends on Facebook that do it. Changes their lives. Guys doing it, going to church more, reading the Bible more. They just changed their lives altogether, and some of them needed it, man.
Yeah, that's 75 hard. Yeah,
they needed it.
Yeah, I mean,
they're better people now.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
not saying you need it, but
this isn't a situation that people do for losing weight. The 75 hard thing.
It's like
this is
mentally,
like a mental toughness.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like,
it opens you up to new levels of your life.
And I don't think that I'm mentally weak either. Like, that's the other thing. I don't think that I'm mentally weak, but I definitely know that there's a little bit of inner bitch that needs to be conquered in me. You know, stuff I will
mental challenges that you want to accomplish.
Yeah, I will make an excuse. I'll make an excuse about why I deserve a fucking whole pizza. Or whatever. Like, oh man, I bust my ass. Oh man,
pizza upstairs waiting for me.
Yeah, dude, I know it's all good, dude. You're fucking killing it. Like, I'm just saying, like, and to me, I have no judgment. Like, just the same way as I don't participate in drug use or whatever, like in drinking. Like, I got no shame to anybody that wants to go hammer down. Like, good for you. You make your own fucking choices. That's the same way I feel about politics, drugs, everything. Like, dude, make your own choices that are good for you, but also don't make me pay for your consequences.
Yeah.
Like, don't make me pay for your weight loss.
Well, sometimes,
don't make me pay for your fucking rehab. Don't make me
sometimes it's nice to have a friend that doesn't drink, and I get to
drive around, man.
So it's fun. And then I can't even remember last time I picked up my pen to smoke.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't remember. I don't, because I haven't. I just I don't care.
Well, and if you're, if your back isn't hurting, you know what I mean?
And that's all I did it for, and that's a great thing. But shout out to Mac Family Chiropractics here in Gretna, though, because that dude is hooking me up.
Yeah, dude, I know.
He's the only one that's touched my lower back that, where my surgeries are. He's the only one that has the balls to touch. He's like, what's the worst you can do? I'm like, dude, that's my fucking life. Like, what's the worst can this guy do?
Yeah, man.
Send me back to... back to pain again. I'm already been there, dude. Like, I've already felt like I wanted to jump off a bridge of how bad it hurt. I mean,
it sucks, man. Well, and you're not the only person dealing with that,
No, and he has stories, tells me people like that all the time.
Yeah, I'm just like, that's the thing, man. It's like we have all these things that are constantly plaguing everybody. We don't know everybody's battle. We don't know everybody's shit. And like you said, like if we started doing that, right? Like, this is the only time that comparison isn't the thief of joy. If we can think like, oh, when we compare it to people who have it worse than us. Right? When we put ourselves in the fucking shoes of people who are fucking living a privileged life. Like, most of us are living a more privileged life. And, like, I'm not saying that the United States is perfect or the United States is... I mean, sure, there are people out there that could probably rattle on reasons why it's not the greatest, right? Like, I'm from here. This is my shit. I'll defend it.
It's great to me.
But all these fucking people sure as fuck aren't running to another place. A lot of motherfuckers are running to here for a better life. That's always the excuse. I'm coming for a better life.
Me and Sarah had that discussion about Switzerland's offering to pay people to come move there, and then you get like $10,000 per child you bring with you.
Yeah.
Just because it's like there's no young generation there right now.
Yeah,
it's all older generation. They're like literally like, hey, we'll pay you $100,000. Come live in Switzerland. Like, please come here. Canada's offering bonuses for people to move up to Canada, but Canada's just expensive as the United States. Like,
well, how sick is Switzerland, dude? Completely neutral. You know what I mean?
Dude, you could buy a goddamn castle with the amount of money that you would buy an apartment here, like a few $1,000s you pay. You could buy a fucking castle in Switzerland.
Like, I don't know, like, really how the money moves and how this stuff happens, but to me, just the position of a non-involved party, like,
so
that
crazy.
would be such a nice break to just like not be involved, to not just not be involved. No, we're staying out of the fray. You guys battle over there. Like,
imagine moving to Switzerland, like the views, how beautiful that place is.
The Alps, yeah, man. I mean, all those places in the Alps are beautiful. There's Italian Alps, there's Austrian Alps.
You got so many,
like,
I'm a scenery guy. You are too. You're outdoors.
I fucking love mountains, man. I love mountains. I was just saying that when I was doing this. We do this charity shotgun shoot every year, and I was doing this sporting clay event on Saturday. And I was telling my buddy, I was like, man, I usually think I'm a mountain guy. I think I'm a fucking beach guy. Like, I'm always talking about how I don't know which I am. And then I was like in the woods just shooting sporting clays, like in this track over here in the middle of fucking nowhere, Nebraska.
Yep.
And I was happy as fuck walking through the woods. I'm like, I think I'm just an outside guy. I think I just love being outside and being a part of nature. So I don't know, man. I think that there's just I know that you and I, like, it's kind of part of our deal to, like, pay attention to all the bad shit and talk about it and everything else. And I know a lot of other people are, but, like, let's have some fucking balance, you know?
Yeah.
Let's think about some positive shit. Let's exercise. Let's, even in the bad things that we're talking about, like, that was a great thing when John was on. We were talking about Spike and what Spike's doing for these small communities. Like, that shit's amazing. Like, that to me is a shining light for what I see, you know? Seeing people that have great success, like looking at Cam Haines and his podcast, and this is a guy who's been influencing people to be just a little bit more tough, just be a little tougher. He starts his podcast, quits his job, and, like, dude, to me, I'm excited Cam Haines is fucking living his best life. Like,
Yeah.
I've been a fan of his, and, like, I like his fucking attitude. He's raised good children. Like, that guy's fucking great.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that I follow too, and I'm like, listen, I mean, I love that you can do what you love. Playing video games, Tim the Tapman, I use him all the time. He's a great guy. He has fun with his fans. He's living life, man. He quit his job. This dude's been streaming for a long ass time. I mean, talk about a fold up chair in his living room with nothing in the background, streaming a video game to where he's at now. People just think that shit happens overnight, and a lot of people think, well, Tim just came out of, like, COVID, you know, the lockdown time, and he just became popular like every other streamer. Like, no, this man's been grinding and grinding.
And even if that was the case, like, then quit watching him. If that's
you know,
if you fucking don't like it, don't watch him.
Or, like, Dr. Disrespect. I fucking love that guy.
And if everybody else decides the same thing as you, right, and they don't, like, quit watching him, well, then, like, that platform is missing. And if he continues doing it, like, fantastic. But, like,
that's why I hate that Nick Burke's got so much fucking shit for what he said about that video, just standing up for kids, like that kid comment that he made. It's like,
yeah,
dude, it's bad, man.
I think, like, a lot of this stuff is just, again, like, people are just trying to be contrarians. They want to shit back on anybody doing anything
find
different.
a way to talk shit on somebody to ruin something.
There's a lot of people that there's a lot of people that have been having a lot of conversations about fucking OnlyFans and shit, right? Like, oh, the fucking this person shouldn't make this amount. No, people shouldn't be willing. If that's the case, then maybe we should argue at the people who are willing to pay X amount of dollars a month just to
people that are paying to watch it,
just to see some feet step on cakes or whatever the hell weird shit's happening there, right? Like, that's we'll use that example. But also, the CEO of fucking OnlyFans gave himself a $1.3 million bonus for every day last year.
Yeah.
Like, damn, dude. Like, we're mad about the success of this chick who's making $50,000 a month.
The upper man that's making
$50,000 a month. The guy that started the fucking runs the company is making $1.3 million a fucking day in a bonus. Yep. Not including his, come on, man. Let's stop being mad again at the $20,000 problem when there's a fucking multi-million-dollar problem up the line that you can, I mean, whatever, dude. It's just the thing. If everybody attacks everybody, then the people at the top can continue moving in silence. Can continue moving without any fucking sort of problem. So, I don't know, man.
It's a crazy world.
Yeah,
I'm living in it.
We should probably fucking
yeah, it's about that. But, hey, appreciate everyone that stops out and listens to us. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok. Drop that subscribe button on YouTube.
Yeah, man.
Facebook. Check us out. Next 2 weeks from now, next week, I don't know, whenever we do this again, we'll have a full crew. We're trying to get down on the schedule. Got some big works in the way. Working on and talking with Jason Hook.
Nice.
So with his new band that he's with. And getting him on here. He might be coming in studio.
Sweet.
So we're trying to work that out. He's not off tour until October. So after October, they said, hey, hit us back up. We'll get you scheduled. And she's like, I was like, well, I'll bring him in on Skype. We can do it. He's like, but it sound better audio in person. I'm like, you're not wrong.
Yeah, true.
Not wrong. We got a lot of other people lined up coming on. So we got some musicians coming on and some live local venue areas. And we're going to be the Shedcast in the streets here coming up in a few weeks. Downtown Omaha, asking questions. We're going to show up on game day in Lincoln, ask questions, all the fans walking in.
Shit.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, should be great.
So don't forget, subscribe to everything. Appreciate you guys. Later.
See ya.
It's not over yet. I said it's not over yet. Catch up on all the latest episodes just by saying, "Hey Alexa, play the Shedcast," or find us on Apple Podcast and Spotify. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram at the Shedcast LLC. From all of us at the Shedcast, thank you for listening.